Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
So I just happened to see this in the news. Mike Manfield posted this. EconPay today announced a partnership that will have Nium's wide-ranging payouts network enable EconPay customers to make payments to key global markets. And of course, guys, we know Nium is a partner of Ripple. So Nium, a global leader in modern money movement and leading international payment service provider, EconPay today announced a partnership that will have Nium's wide-ranging payouts network enable EconPay customers to make payments to key global markets. The integration offers merchants a closed-loop system where the entire payment journey is managed in one easy-to-use dashboard. Nium provides global payments and card issuance solutions for businesses around the world. It currently operates payouts for businesses in over 190 countries, offering a fast and convenient way to make payments in over 100 different local currencies. The partnership will enable EconPay to offer payouts to merchants in various regions across the globe, made directly to bank accounts of the users of the country of choice using a quick and secure local network. So Nium, of course, already integrated with the gold standard solution RippleNet, and now they are partnering up with EconPay to offer these types of payouts for businesses in over 190 countries and 100 different local currencies. This is something that RippleNet does very, very well, and so I am not surprised that they are partnering up with a Ripple-enabled company, namely Nium in this particular case. Through this partnership, EconPay will be able to access new complex and emerging markets and provide a seamless payment experience for their customers wanting to expand internationally. So internationally, of course, exotic rails. This is really what's going to entice their customers, being able to source the liquidity through XRP and be able to transfer fiat to fiat, for example. Taking an individual approach to each merchant, EconPay offers a range of bespoke, tailored products, features, and technologies to streamline the payment process for their end users. Customers can also pay for goods and services on any device through a single unified payment gateway, enjoying quick, convenient, intuitive, and secure transactions. EconPay caters to corporate customers in retail, travel, mobility, hospitality, and online gaming industries. So EconPay, just another one who is joining forces with Ripple-enabled Nium in order to really extend the product availability for their customers. It makes sense considering the world is going to be running on Ripple. Once a new financial system is ushered in, it's only going to make sense for all these companies to already be Ripple-enabled. This is part of why the ISO 20022 standard is slowly being ushered in this year and going to be finalized by 2025. I believe that is the final timeline date for that. Some other countries may be late adopters, but we're already starting to see it being implemented. And so, all these companies already integrating with RippleNet enabled companies, they probably already know that they will have to at some point. So why not choose to be on the cutting edge? Anyway, great news there. I wanted to thank Mike Manfield for posting that. I also saw this from the Wrath of Kahneman. It seems Ripple user Wirebarley, which is a Korean company, has signed an MOU with a Korean apparel manufacturer association to provide international payment services. So just bringing up this article here from the Korean Times, wanted to translate that into English. So the Korean Clothing Association and the overseas payment platform Wirebarley signed an MOU to provide economical and safe payment solutions for Korean clothing businesses at the Korean Clothing Association Seminar Room on the 10th. Through the signing of this business agreement, a fast and safe 24-hour overseas payment service will be provided to member companies and individuals of the Korean Apparel Association. And of course, Wirebarley, Ripple-enabled, will be able to provide those payments. So to commemorate the signing of the business agreement, an additional $10 coupon will be provided for individual remittances to new members, and all sections of fees will be waived for business remittance. Richard Cho, he is on the right here. He is the president of the Korean Clothing Association, and John Kim, president of Wirebarley America, are holding the business agreement here in this photo together. So that's another connection through Wirebarley, a Ripple-enabled company. We are seeing them expand into different sectors, in this case, Korean apparel manufacturing. So it's interesting to see that transition from payments specifically and exclusively into other facets and other industries, I suppose. But, there will be a payments component to that. Nevertheless, interesting news there. Wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. I'm going to keep going, guys. There have been a lot of developments sociopolitically, and I wanted to kind of talk about a few of them that have just recently happened. We know about what was happening in Canada, and just recently there is some international conflict happening in the Russian-Ukrainian region of the world. And so, just to this point here, Michael at Val5 Links brought up this article. So Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, he recently just revoked the Emergency Act. And, this is kind of on the surface putting people at ease, I suppose. Then all of a sudden there's the conflict in Russia and the Ukraine. Coincidence or not, was it supposed to be a distraction? Anyway, markets have been reacting to this. But here's an interesting article, and I'm going to tell you guys how this ties in. So this has to do with Canada specifically because we know what was happening there over several weeks of protests in Ottawa. The Canadian PM, Prime Minister, has also begun to unfreeze many of the bank accounts of protesters and donors to the protesters who are turning to Bitcoin to protect them from future interference. So the protesters found another way to circumvent the bank sanctions against them, the freezing of their accounts. They were taking donations in cryptocurrency, and so the Canadian government said, whoa, we really need to rein this in. And I don't want to get into all the reasons as to why, the speculation as to why Prime Minister Justin Trudeau decided to do this, but I think they see that they're kind of screwed. Anyway, this is just one connection to cryptocurrency, and I'm going to tell you guys why it matters in a second. So, the Prime Minister has announced that he will repeal emergency powers to freeze $8 million from 210 bank accounts connected to the Canadian protesters. On February 24th, he stated in a press conference that we're ready to confirm that the situation is no longer an emergency, and said that his special powers granted by the Emergencies Act would end. He added, "We are confident that existing laws and bylaws are now sufficient to keep people safe." Right, keep people safe from peaceful protesters. But take a look down here, guys. After being blocked from traditional crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe and GiveSendGo by the Canadian government, protesters turned to fundraising with Bitcoin on Tallycoin and raised 21 Bitcoin valued at about $902,000 at the time the event ended on February the 15th. The organizers of the event then moved the BTC to a new wallet with separate key holders. The decision to freeze bank accounts outraged some major cryptocurrency industry players, including Kraken CEO Jesse Powell, who I talked about the other day. He responded to the bank freezes by tweeting on April 18th, "Due processes for plebes, might makes right in Canada." He later told Forbes on February the 23rd, "People ought to think about whether the government is always going to have their best interests in mind, or that it would never go to this extreme of confiscating bank accounts without due process." There was also a tweet by Brian Armstrong here, concerning to see stuff like this happening in any country, especially such an economically free place like Canada. Talking about self-custodial wallets, and so the Canadian government really wanted to nip that in the bud. They do not want Canadians to be holding their cryptocurrency in self-custodial wallets like the Ledger Nano S, which I keep telling everybody, I have been since the beginning of this channel. If you want to keep your cryptocurrency safe, get a Ledger Nano or something similar, a cold storage solution. I do have an affiliate link in the description of the video. You can use it if you want, you don't have to use it. The point being, not your keys, not your crypto. And so this is what now has happened in Canada, a bit of a 180, a bit of a kind of pull back from full tyrannical measures. Well, guys, if you live in the United States, do not think you are immune. This coming from Michael at Val5 Links. Another article here, Senator Rand Paul warns the US has similar statutes to Emergency Act in Canada. Here we go. US Senator Rand Paul warns that statutes in the US similar to the Emergencies Act invoked by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau last week during an episode of the Based Politics podcast that aired Sunday. He said, "I think statutes that allow presidents or heads of states to invoke emergencies are very, very dangerous." He says, "We have the same sort of statutes here, and I have been a long-time opponent of these. We actually have in the United States an Emergency Act that allows the president to shut down the internet. Things that make you go, And if they shut down the internet, would they even decide to tell us? I tried when President Trump was in office to take this power away," he noted. "However, I could never get it through," Paul conceded. He continued, Senator Mike Lee had some reforms that he put forward to the Emergencies Act, and that's something we should look at because these things go on and on. There are some emergencies in the US that have been going on for many, many decades, and the president can just renew them every year, and there's no real stopping him. So, whether you live in Canada or whether you live in the United States, or maybe another country for that matter, you are all likely subject to these measures if your government decides to take it upon themselves to invoke them. This just meaning nobody is safe, guys. Nobody is immune to this. And so, it is very concerning considering who we know, how many governments we know are connected with the World Economic Forum and their plan for an overall great reset. In Canada, there was a bit of a run on the banks. Nothing that really collapsed the Canadian dollar or that really affected the Canadian banking system, although there was that one day where the banks did shut down for a period of time, probably because they realized too many people were taking money out of the banks. And so I wanted to bring you guys this as well, okay? Because we have the Russia thing happening, Russia to seize retail deposits if sanctions go too far. So, Russia is being sanctioned by the US. Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, has denied its own supposedly false statement on being included in the US sanctions list on Thursday. So there have been sanctions coming down, and this could be the result of these sanctions in the event of harsh Western sanctions as Russian forces invade the Ukraine. Retail customers could risk losing their savings. Russian savings could be confiscated in response to sanctions against the country, according to Nikolai Arfiev, a member of the country's Communist Party and vice chairman of the Duma's Committee on Economic Policy. The Russian government can potentially seize about 60 trillion rubles, about $750 billion worth of people's deposits, should Western nations decide to block all of Russia's foreign funds. Arfiev said in an interview with the local news agency, if all the foreign funds are blocked, and here's a quote, the government will have no other choice but to seize all the deposits of the population, or 60 trillion rubles, in order to solve the situation. This is what he stated, noting that Russia stores over $640 billion of gold and foreign exchange reserves abroad. So the sanctions. This is in the US's hands. Just down here, according to local reports, Sberbank mistakenly made a statement on being included in the list of sanctions by the United States on Thursday night, but subsequently removed the notice, claiming that the statement was false and was caused by a website crash, in quotes. Boy, are we seeing a theme here? Internet going down, website crash. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna keep going because, guys, it gets a little more unsettling. Now, I've never brought up this letter because I never really kind of thought of a good way to kind of incorporate it into a video. This was leaked from back in October of 2020. And in this letter, somebody from the Liberal Party of Canada, so yeah, going back to Canada here for a second, they found it very disturbing that the entire beer flu situation, month by month, quarter by quarter, was essentially being outlined in this blueprint, this plan here. Now, I don't want to go through all of this, but let me remind you, this was released in October of 2020, before we had any of these in anybody's arms. Okay, so this was the playbook, and this person essentially saying that there were some confirmations of this. Only each person can decide if this is real or not. It matches exactly what we have all read and researched will happen if we don't stop this. This is already happening in other countries. This is a leaker from a Liberal Party of Canada member. Please contact all level authorities of government, etc., etc. So again, over a year old. But it is interesting because if you guys read through this, and again, I'm not going to read through the full thing, but it does coincide. I mean, the timelines have been a little disjunct, but it does coincide to what the World Global Reset Plan is and how they were going to use the beer flu as that catalyst to essentially implement this. Now, the part that I wanted to kind of touch on was with regards to an entire economic collapse, because that is kind of where we're at today. The Russian-Ukraine conflict, bank accounts being frozen in certain countries. Now we have Rand Paul coming out and saying, well, the US could invoke an Emergencies Act as well. So let me read you a little bit of this. Along with that provided roadmap, the Strategic Planning Committee was asked to design an effective way of transitioning Canadians to meet an unprecedented economic endeavor, one that would change the face of Canada and forever alter the lives of Canadians. Now, this is specific to Canada, guys, but I'm sure a lot of Western nations have received a similar initiative from the World Economic Forum. What we were told was that in order to offset what was essentially an economic collapse on an international scale, that the federal government was going to offer Canadians a total debt relief. And this is how this is supposed to work. The federal government will offer to eliminate all personal debts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, etc., which all funding will be provided to Canada by the IMF under what will become known as the World Debt Reset Program. In exchange for this acceptance, there are going to be several different caveats, which I'm not going to discuss. You can imagine that they have to do with this. Continually, year after year, Committee members asked who would become the owner of the forfeited properties and assets, for example, if people did not comply, and what would happen to lenders or financial institutions. We were simply told the World Debt Reset Program will handle all of this in detail. And then they talk about this, for example, several committee members also question what would happen to individuals if they refuse to participate in the World Debt Reset Program, and there's an explanation on that. I don't want to get into that too much. To be honest, I really don't even want to link this PDF in the description of the video, but here, I'll screen grab, I'll just kind of give you guys a page here and you can pause. I'll give you guys another page here and you can pause the video if you want. All right, I'll give you guys another page here and you can pause the video. And the last page here, you can pause the video if you guys want to read further. I guess what I'm pointing out here is that they are planning for this, guys. It is no secret. And in this report, if you do read it in detail, you will hear of situations that are going to be considered black swan events. Now, there was another phone call that was leaked, and it's about 2.5 minutes of audio. And I thought I would set it up with this letter, because I don't doubt it for a second, especially since we are hearing people like Rand Paul saying that the president actually has the option to shut down the internet. Okay, listen to this. This again from a Canadian source, but listen to this.
Everyone that's in this group, this is Iona speaking. Just want to bring something to everybody's attention that is in this group. Last year in 2021, I read Justin Trudeau's agenda for 2022. The entire document. So I somehow misplaced the document. I would have dropped it in this group, but I cannot find it. So for February 2022, in his agenda, the internet is set to go down for 10 days. Because I didn't have the document, I can't remember the exact date, but I was in a Zoom meeting last night where somebody brought it up to say that it is February the 24th. Which would be next Thursday. He will be down in the internet for 10 days. It is imperative that you go to the bank, you take out some money, you have some cash on hand. You will not be able to buy anything by debit. You will not be able to buy gas, food, etc. Go to the bank, have cash on hand. When the internet comes back up after 10 days, my understanding that he's going to try to control it, etc., etc., etc. But I just want us to be prepared. The internet is going to go down. I did read it in his agenda in 2021. I read his entire agenda, and this is to happen in February 2022. We are in February 2022 now. We are here. It is set to happen. So please, go to the bank and keep some money on hand. Within those 10 days, you won't be able to use anything by card, via internet, etc. We know that there is times in the city when you go to buy something and the whole area is down. The internet is down and we can't purchase anything. And we know that the chaos that it causes just for one day, this is going to happen for 10 days. Please have money on hand that you will be able to purchase by cash. It is imperative. Have a great day.
Things that make you go, Now, I know they gave specific dates in this phone call, and, when you do read this letter, you can see that the dates are not completely intact because of just how human intervention has kind of, offset some of these timelines. So, I think Justin Trudeau was trying to put the Emergencies Act in for certain reasons, because after the peaceful protest disbanded, he still kept the Emergency Act in. We've got this Rand Paul statement, we've got this leaked document from somebody within the Liberal Party, and again, this was from back in October of 2020, before these even were rolled out. We have that audio recording, and I'm just waiting, guys. I don't trust anybody. This is why I have a lot of my savings in cryptocurrency in a cold wallet storage solution. Here's a list of the bank partners of the WEF if you guys are interested as well. This coming from Unacceptable Sylvie here on Twitter. So just another list of some of the biggest banks in the world. Some of these banks like Bank of America, Bank of China, BMO Financial Group, BNY Mellon, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, The list goes on and on, guys. JP Morgan Chase is on this list as well. ING Group, Goldman Sachs, European Investment Bank. We also have Ripple partners like MUFG Bank, NASDAQ, Nax Group, the NYSE, PayPal is on there, the Qatar National Bank, which is also a Ripple partner, RBC, the Royal Bank of Canada. Of course, there's Ripple, the Saudi National Bank, the Singapore Exchange, so on and so forth, TD Bank Group, UBS, the State Bank of India, Standard Chartered Bank, Standard Bank Group, the SIX Exchange. So lots of connections here, guys, to the WEF, Ripple integrated central banks, and even Ripple here. Ripple, the company, is even listed, not there, but they're listed on this slide right down in here. And so again, things that make you go, a potential black swan event, considering now we have seen an escalation of conflict in the Russia-Ukrainian region. And so what are we going to see happen to fiat? What about commodities and precious metals? And most importantly, cryptocurrency. Gonna bring you guys one last clip here. This is just a speech from Ray Dalio and this person here, Free Investing on YouTube. They added some text and some visuals to it. I just wanted to play you guys about 2 minutes of this clip. I will link it in the description if you want to watch the full thing. Listen to this.
Most people think that cash is safe. Cash is the least safe investment. It just doesn't have the same volatility to it because they're producing so much cash. It has a negative real return. It's a tax that maybe 2% a year you lose money in terms of cash. So you have to think about risk differently and you have to diversify best. That's the most important thing, to have a well-diversified portfolio. So the uncertainties that we have today are so great in terms of all the things I mentioned, the tax policies, the geopolitical. Certainly we must experience it with the virus. Will the next wave come back and how will it be there? Diversification can be achieved without reducing your expected returns because of the way that asset classes are priced. And then if you're going to take tactical bets from those, then those tactical bets, alpha on top of that strategic, well-diversified portfolio, should have highly diversified bets deviating. Liquidity is going to be more important than before because things change in unexpected ways. Look at how, in many of the cases, the businesses that one would have thought was a good business, and let's say you're in private equity, you're with that company. And so the restructuring, the ability to rebalance and diversify and to be cautious about making a highly diversified set of bets is, I think, the future. But thinking even of asset classes, thinking about the value of money. We look at asset classes and we say, oh, do I want my money to be in stocks and which stocks? But we don't think about stocks, bonds. We think about those traditional asset classes, but we don't think about the value of money and what's going to happen in terms of the printing of that value of the money and how to diversify it well. So I think those are the things that have to be paid attention to, in much as they were important things in years prior to 1945.
And so I'm going to leave it there, guys. Notice when he mentions liquidity, that is going to be key because people are going to have to adapt. They're going to have to take their assets, look at their portfolios if they want to preserve their wealth, and maybe invest in something that wasn't traditionally popular over the last decade or so. And so in this new financial system, where is the liquidity going to be sourced? Well, do I have to say it again? The banks that are partnered with the World Economic Forum, also Ripple, another company partnered with the World Economic Forum. This is all going to go through the new emerging banking system, and it has been said numerous times from Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz, XRP is the best cryptocurrency asset to source the liquidity for anything. It doesn't just have to be fiat or cryptocurrencies. It can be anything of value.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.